Welcome, gorgeous woman. I am so incredibly excited to have this special time with you. Dive with you for next hour into the Embodied Boundaries Masterclass, which is all about the 3 secrets that will help you master the give and take of money, love, lust, energy, and resources. And what a better way than to spend Saturday evening for me. I'm based in Dublin, Ireland, so it's 9 p.m. right now, and you probably are in a different part of the world. You might be in America, you might be in Canada, you might be in Australia, so we will be joining and coming together from all parts of the world. And what a better way than to spend Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning together to reclaim the essence of healing our boundaries, which can truly allow us to foster and create and reclaim better life. Hi Sandra, lovely to see you, beautiful woman. So excited. I know Sandra is in Switzerland, so it's like super late. It's, I believe, 10 p.m. for Sandra. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It's truly, truly beautiful. So as you are jumping on, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to be here with me today. I know it takes courage, and I know it takes commitment, and I know it takes a certain level of saying yes to yourself and yes to your healing, to craft time in your schedule, in your week, to step into this with me. So what we are going to do together today is really lay out a very specific blueprint that will allow you to understand your boundaries, heal your boundaries, and really step into the next phase of your life, next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, with a greater sense of connection about your deep sense of yes and no. So once again, thank you so much for being here with me today. I have tremendous love and tremendous delight and compassion for you stepping into this. It is time for us to shift some deep stuff and help you reclaim your boundaries from inside out. So as you are coming on, let me know in the comments which part of the world you are tuning from. Julie is here with me. Hey, gorgeous. So I believe Julie is in UK and it's 9 p.m., which is awesome. Nancy is here with me today. Thank you so much for doing that. So let me know in the comments below which part of the world you're coming from. If you are watching this on replay, same thing. Let me know which part of the world you are tuning from, and what are you hoping to learn, to understand, to break through, or maybe even embody in our free training today. So let me know which part of the world and what is your intention for our time together. So Julie is in Liverpool. Awesome. Thank you so much for stepping into this with me today. And I am really excited to spend this next 60 to 75 minutes with you, teaching you, educating you, and empowering you about your boundaries and what does it take really to heal your boundaries from inside out. So allow me to start by giving you a little bit of a roadmap for our training together today. So what you are going to discover this evening or this afternoon, this morning, depending on where you are tuning from, is really what is the essence of boundaries and the difference between boundaries and embodied boundaries. You're going to really understand the difference. We're going to really dial in of what happens with the layers of conditioning, trauma, social repression, and the impact it has on your choices around saying yes and no, and how wounds to your boundaries, how trauma patterns to your boundaries are actually impacting your choices, are impacting your health, are impacting your bank account, are impacting your relationships. And from that space that I'm so excited about, I'll actually guide you through an embodied process of healing your boundaries and stepping into this grounded sense of yes and no. This is a process that I'll be taking you through at about like 45 minutes to 50 minutes mark. And I'm really, really excited to guide you through this embodied discernment around your yes and no that you can start applying in your everyday life and really begin to emerge into a woman who has a deep, grounded, and peaceful sense about yes and no. So with all of that being said, once again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and allow me to take this time to introduce myself, especially for those of you who are new to this group, who are new to my work, who are new to this level of healing and transformation. My name is Dagmar, and I'm the woman's leading confidence and sexuality expert. And in my work, I help successful women heal from past trauma and social repression so they can reclaim the temple of their body. They can skyrocket their mental and emotional confidence and connect to their orgasmic nature. Now, the way I do it is through a deeply holistic and integrated system that addresses very deeply the mind, the body, the psychology, and the nervous system, and works at what's called the 3 parts brain. So in my work, I help and deeply support my clients through transformation at the primal brain, at the limbic brain, and at the cortical brain, which fosters a deep integration nervous system and truly helping women reclaim her life force, her safety, her pleasure, her vitality, her aliveness. So this work is very, very deep, and it's unlike anything else that's on the market or that's offered by other transformational teachers, because it's truly looking at every layer of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your body, of your psychology, and in that space, you're really able to address the ecosystem of your entire life. So I'm seeing Dominique. Awesome, so lovely to see you with me, gorgeous woman. Dominique has been studying with me for last about 12 months, and she has created a 360-degree pivot in her life, in her relationships, in her health, for which I am just overflowing with tremendous gratitude and excitement. So allow me to get into your world, and I would love to really, really meet you exactly where you are or where you might have been for quite some time, and really, really connect with you in a deep psycho-emotional way to see exactly what you're going through and what you're struggling and what is alive for you at this stage of your life. So as I'm asking you these questions, if you find yourself, if you recognize yourself in some of these challenges or struggles, feel free to let me know, let us know in the comments below. This is a deeply private and safe space. So whatever and everything that you share here with us only stays in the group, only stays in the eyes of the women who are pretty much on the same journey like yourself. So allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to be open, and allow us to communicate together in this way. As I'm doing this live stream, I really, really want to know what is alive for you at this stage in your life. So have you ever struggled with being afraid to open your heart again? So maybe you have gone through, bad abandonment as a child, or maybe you've gone through horrendous heartbreak at some stage in your life, or abandonment, neglect by a man or by a partner. And now you got in this space where it's like you want to open your heart, but your heart is shut down and really close and really kind of cold, and you're afraid to trust again. You're afraid to trust with your heart again. Maybe you are a woman who is constantly getting triggered, like this daily small things, whether someone like cuts you off in a traffic, or a little thing that your partner does, or something with your kids. Like you're constantly finding yourself in the place of being triggered, and you really struggle with like getting back to feeling okay, getting back to peace of mind and regulation. Maybe you're a woman who is afraid of her own pleasure, who is afraid of her own sexuality. Perhaps you have experienced some form of sexual exploitation or sexual trauma, and now whenever pleasure or desire arises, you are getting and you're experiencing a lot of guilt and shame about your sexual impulses or your sexual desires. Maybe you're a woman who really struggles with pleasure altogether. Maybe you never had an orgasm, or you are struggling with your orgasms. You're not finding your orgasms to be the type of orgasm that you read about in Cosmos or you read about in erotic novels. There's just something is feeling off in your sexuality. Perhaps, and this is a big one, I'm not gonna lie, this is a big one. Perhaps you're a woman who really finds it difficult to put herself first. So you're in this constant pattern of give, 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 take care of everyone else. And you find yourself exhausted, depleted, bitter, angry, and even like condescending on the inside. But the mask that you put to your family and to your loved ones is like this good, nice girl that never gets angry. Maybe you are a woman who is challenged with her confidence, who is challenged with her self-worth, and you are having like this inner critic running the show of your day-to-day, and you're finding yourself that you're constantly putting yourself down. And maybe you are a woman that like something is going on, but you can't even identify what is going on. Like something is wrong, but you can't put fingers and say, hey, is my self-worth, or is my boundaries, or is my orgasmic pleasure? Like, I don't know. I'm just feel off. Life doesn't feel pleasant. Life is a struggle. I'm constantly in a fear consciousness, in anxiety consciousness, and it is not easy. So Anna shares, yes, for me, I see it not as something that will be solved, but as a pocket of wounding that some heal and shift forever, but others will be re-triggered. And it's a matter of recognizing the triggers, the collective toxicity, and being able to shift into higher potential and reconnect with my true nature of bliss and expansion and trust in love. That's really, really beautiful intention. Thank you for sharing that, Anna. So with all of this being asked, and maybe this has like evoked some deep emotions inside of you, even possibly trigger finding yourself in some of these patterns, I want to share my own story of struggle, my own story of really, really getting from the bottom hole of my life because I did not know how to set boundaries, and I was getting constantly triggered, and I was dealing with so much pain and so much anxiety and so much exhaustion to come into place today that life is truly, truly amazing. So I have, as is very, very common for many women, I have been sexually traumatized between the ages of 12 to 15, and in those 3 years of sexual abuse, I really lost myself. I lost what my yes or no is, as is so common for sexual abuse survivors. And no matter what I said, no matter how much I tried to protect my body or expose my abuser, my exposure was not accepted and my no was not accepted. So in those 3 years of being sexually abused, I pretty much lost myself. I lost my identity. I lost my sense of no. And for next 7, 8, 9 years, I was in this dark hole where I didn't know who I am, where I let every and any man just take advantage of me, where I was literally struggling getting out of the bed every single morning because all I could see in front of me is just like this anxious lethargy. That's how I would describe it, anxious lethargy. So either I'm like in this constant anxious state of like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's next? Oh my God, what is this person going to do to me? Oh my God, danger. Everything is dangerous. Everything is dangerous. Or when I just get so overwhelmed from this anxiety, I would collapse. I would collapse and be superly tired, lying in the bed, using food to actually help me bypass the guilt so I can fall asleep and I can rest. And I would find myself like literally going from the age of 15 to 25 for 10 years just in the state of anxious lethargy, where I am letting my body being taken away without my consent, when I'm struggling with anxiety, when I'm struggling with pelvic pain, when I'm doing this job for minimal wage, where my boss is just like treating me with lack of consent, with some level of emotional abuse, but I'm literally like getting in my work every single morning petrified, like my heart is beating fast because I don't know how my boss is going to react and treat me. And in all of this, this was like definitely, awakening for me into my personal development journey, into healing my soul, into healing my heart. But nothing has shifted for me unless I actually came across my mentors, Layla Martin and Rachel Maddox. And instead of trying to fix this impact of sexual trauma at level of thinking and the level of cognition, I actually begin to do a lot of embodied boundary healing work. Which meant for the first time in my life, I was literally creating like this energetic push-off to push away the abuse, the attack, the violation, the exploitation, the manipulation, and start connecting to my feelings and emotions and sensations in my body that allow me to create that healthy discernment around what my yes is, what my no is. What my yes is for allowing healthy things to come into my body, into my relationships, into my life, and what do I need to say no to in order to protect myself and keep myself safe. And I'm not gonna lie, this work has absolutely changed my life. It has changed the core essence of who I am, and I am very happily married to the man of my dreams. We have an amazing marriage, and now we have a beautiful 2-year-old son that definitely came with his own story. And I'm doing a work that nourishes my soul. I'm doing a work that really allows me to create profound impact in the world, serving women like yourself to heal their own pains and their lack of boundaries so they can reclaim their life force and feel safe in their bodies. So what I would love to invite right here, right now, is a really healthy understanding of what boundaries are, and helping you understand the definition of boundaries. So most women, without a question, they have an understanding that their boundaries are not healthy and they need to do some healing work on their boundaries. But I want to get even beneath this layer of like that conscious recognition that you have some work to do on your boundaries, and actually support you into understanding that boundaries at their essence are about safety and protection. Let me repeat this. Boundaries at their essence are about safety and protection. So what that means is, some of you might be familiar with the work of Abraham Maslow. If you are, let me know in the comments below. And Abraham Maslow is the front runner of positive psychology, and he has created what's called the hierarchy of human needs. And according of Abraham Maslow, you cannot progress to the higher levels in life, like love, your need for love, your need for transcendence, your need for self-actualization, if you don't have safety in your life. So safety is both like this physiological thing, that you have shelter over your head, that you have food on your table, that you are physically okay, you're physiologically okay. But safety is so directly connected to your boundaries. So if, let's say, you're a woman who is in this perpetuated cycle of giving, 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 you're giving more than it's sustainable for your health, it literally creates this level of fear about tomorrow or about your future, or like this deep visceral fear that people will just continue to take advantage of you and step over you. And that signals to the unconscious that you're not safe. You're not safe in your life. So boundaries, once again, are about safety and protection. Unless and until you fix your boundaries, you're not able to progress in your life into the love, into transcendence, into self-actualization. Boundaries create safety, and boundaries are operating in your life all the time. They're operating right now. They're operating right now. If you're right now watching and you're here with me and you have 10 another tabs open, maybe a little video here, email here, Twitter here, whatever, you are not creating boundary with yourself to be fully present and connected to this training and to my message and to this group. Which, what does that mean? What does that say about you? That you're not honoring yourself enough to be like fully engaged with this process. So boundaries are operating all the time. They're operating in your finances. They're operating in your emotions. They're operating in your relationships. They're operating in your health. They're operating in your environment. Boundaries are operating at all times. So in the space of boundaries, we are either protecting ourselves, you're either protecting yourself, or you're creating safety for another person. So that can be safety for your partner, it can be safety for your child, it can be safety for your parents, it can be safety for your colleague, it can be safety for your friend. So you're either protecting yourself or creating safety for another. I'm either protecting myself or I'm creating safety for another. Now, on the other side of boundaries is space. This is a really, many times like this, a big mind shift for a lot of people. On the other side of boundaries is space. So what it means is, when I heal my boundaries and I create safety for myself, suddenly I have this space, I have this bandwidth to digest my experiences, to step into creativity, to connect with my intuition, to, play in a joyful way with my child. On the other side of boundaries, you have tremendous amount of space. So one of the biggest mind shift that is preventing women from creating healing and boundaries, and as a result of that creating safety, is, I can't do it. It's too selfish. I will feel guilty. This is not okay. And this, first and foremost, completely kills their sense of protection, their sense of safety, right? These are the women who are exhausted. These are the women who are anxious. These are the women who are fatigued and depleted and overwhelmed because A, they don't have safety, and as a result of that, they don't even have space. So if you want to make 2020 your year, if you want to make 2020 the year of becoming the flourishing woman, stepping into healing your boundaries is the bread and butter. It is the foundation, as Abraham Maslow says, it is the foundation that fosters safety and slowly will allow you to emerge into the higher levels and step into love and self-actualization. So now, with all of that being said, you might be asking yourself, wow, like this is really deep. And why do we as women actually struggle with boundaries? Like, why is it that we are so challenged with boundaries? And as a trauma healing expert and as a sexuality expert and literally working with women from all around the world, I would say it boils down to two major things. The reason why we struggle with boundaries boils down to two major things. So the first one is a social conditioning, and the second one are trauma patterns, are trauma responses. And let me break both of these down for you so you understand what I'm talking about. So when it comes to social conditioning, pretty much every single one of us in Western culture, we have been taught that as a woman, we need to be nice, we need to be polite, we need to say yes, we need to keep our voices down, we need to keep ourselves small, we need to completely disconnect from our power. We have been told over and over again that in order to be happy, in order to have the marriage, in order to attract the right man, in order to be successful, in order to have relationship in the first place, we need to put our needs last and put everyone else before us. We need to be in this selfless space of giving, giving, and giving. We must compromise, we must sacrifice, we must give in, we just must keep on giving. So even though things are changing and there is a lot of movement to personal development and consciousness and deep understanding of ourselves, the challenge is that the social conditioning runs so deep in our veins, it runs so deep in our DNA, that most of us, most women nowadays, still don't know how to say no. They still don't know how to say no and feel fully grounded in their no. So the saying no can literally create like this visceral fear of death inside of our bodies. And that's what challenge is. That's where all personal development falls short. That's where all self-help falls short, because what personal development and self-help are going to help you with is your cognition, your thinking. It's like, get strong and be powerful and step in your no, you can do this. So they are up-leveling your ambition and motivation and like helping you see your possibilities in your way, which is amazing. I'm not discrediting this. However, it is not enough. If you really want to heal your boundaries and if you want to address this possible fear of death, saying no is actually triggering in you, just working with cognition is not enough. You need to go deeper. You need to go at the level of your limbic system and at the level of the primal brain, at the level of the emotional centers and at the level of the unconscious. And when you do, you can transform some deep stuff very, very fast, which I'm really, really excited to do with you and actually share with you inside of this training. So I'm excited to share this embodied boundaries process with you. So the first reason why we struggle with boundaries is social conditioning. The second reason, shall I do this probably? The second reason why we struggle with boundaries is a trauma response. Now, what do I mean with that? The trauma response, or like the traumatic imprint for our boundaries, is actually exploitation. Now, exploitation in your life might have looked like if you have been taken without consent. Maybe you have been stolen from, whether that's in a sexual way or a financial way or an emotional way. Maybe you have been used. Your body might have been used. Your mind might have been used. Maybe you have been capitalized on, which I think just like this consensus of woman's sexuality is so highly being capitalized on in our marketing, in our marketing messages, in what we hold true about beauty and power and how we are selling. So much of our selling actually boils down to the capitalization on female body. To me, at the essence, and again, working with hundreds and hundreds of women from all around the world, at some level, pretty much every single woman feels exploited in her sexuality. It is true. It is absolutely true. And that's why I believe in this work. And that's why I am very, very passionate of helping you and helping women who are ready for this, work, to actually start addressing their boundaries at that energetic, at that body-based level. So exploitation can also look like being exposed at the cost of you. You might have been extracted, and the exploitation might be emotional, it can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be financial, it can be energetic. I had a woman who came into my world a couple of weeks ago, and she is a very, very gifted healer. She is a very gifted mindset coach. She's a very intelligent, very smart woman. And she is actually really struggling in her business for the last 4 or 5 years. So as we have been diving into like what's going on, why she's struggling, in spite of the fact that she has a couple of master degree and PhD, and she's really, really smart. It boiled down to this thing. It boiled down that a couple of years ago, she has gone through major financial exploitation, where literally she has lost her home, she has lost really, really high savings that she had, and she has been like very highly financially traumatized. Everything has been destroyed, everything has been taken away from her. So what has happened for her, and this is where I have really like connected dots for her, is her subconscious took on the message that like being in her financial power or doing well financially is not safe, because at the end of the day, it's just gonna be taken away from her. So what she started to do, like the habits and the actions that she started to execute in her business, were very much aligning with this deep fear in her subconscious that everything will be taken away from her. And guess what? As a result, she was financially struggling. She is financially struggling. So what I really invited her to do is she has to address this financial abuse, this financial trauma she has received, so every part of her can get back to alignment with actually saying yes to healthy, thriving, and financially prosperous business. And the piece that I'm really sharing with this is, and you might be finding yourself very much in the story of this woman. If so, I have deep compassion, I have deep reverence for you. And what I want to communicate with this story is that so much of this boundary stuff happens at the subconscious level. It does not happen in our cognition. It happens way, way deeper. Therefore, addressing your body and your nervous system and stepping into embodied boundaries is the key here, is the absolute key here. So if you have had trauma to your boundaries, which again is exploitation, your nervous system, your subconscious, will decide to go in one of two patterns. Your subconscious will either go into hypo response, which is like collapse of your power, collapse of your energy, collapse of your resourcefulness. And what flimsy boundaries look like is you are in the like perfect pattern of the good girl, the people pleaser, the overgiver. You are a woman who is giving away far more than what is sustainable or healthy for you. You're giving away far more as a result of habituated patterning or the exploitation. You have no feeling, you're defenseless, you have no walls. You are overriding your impulses. You're overriding your body's instincts, and you are just in the place of giving, 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 running yourself into the ground, running yourself into exhaustion. So that's flimsy boundaries. Now, the opposite thing can happen is your nervous system can go into the hyper response, which is like being super alert, super high, literally having a sharp eye, like sharp eye of hypervigilance, and always watching, always scanning your environment for danger. These are the women who believe that the world is not a safe place. These are the women who say all men are pigs. These are the women who say no one can be trusted. And you're so convinced in your beliefs that you're in this, like, do you see what I'm doing with my eyes? Like this, in this state of like ready to attack, hypervigilance. Now, the impenetrable boundaries can also be like walling off, creating this walls of protection around your body. Walls of protection may be around your sexuality, around this possibility for being penetrated. What can that look like? It can look like developing chronic pelvic pain. It can look like developing chronic pelvic floor pain like vulvodynia or vaginismus. You can also be creating this walls of protection around your heart, this numbness around your heart, inability to receive love, inability to receive compliments, and as a result, like being really starved for love and connection and intimacy. So the hyper response are flimsy boundaries, the hyper response are impenetrable boundaries, and either or are gonna suck the life out of you. And it is time for us to re-regulate you and your boundaries back to health and back to this deep embodied sense of yes and no. It is time. So, who is enjoying this so far? Let me know in the comments below, what are your biggest insights? What are your biggest aha moments? What are you taking with you into your heart and into your soul? This is a deep, deep stuff. And it has, as I said before, changed the course of my life. And it is changing the course of my life, of my students and clients from all around the world. So let us dive into the physiology of your boundaries. The physiology, or like where are your boundaries connected to your body, is not surprisingly, if you have been paying a deep attention to the exploitation, is actually your pelvis, your pelvic organs, which is the bladder, the womb, and at the back you have rectum. It is your genitals, your vagina, your cervix, and your hips, like your hip socket out of the pelvis. This is where your hip socket attaches, and then you have your thigh bone moving down, which is your femur. So your whole sexual reproductive system is actually this physiological center of your boundaries. Now, as a sexuality expert and someone who has been in this pelvic floor health field for well over 15 years, one thing that I have seen to be a common threat, whether a woman comes to me with organ prolapse, whether she comes to me with chronic yeast infections, whether she comes to me with like no desire for her partner or maybe experiencing sexual pain, is inability to have healthy boundaries. Yes, there are other pieces that needs to be addressed, but what is like matching everybody's experiences when they have problem, pain, issue, challenge down there is inability for healthy boundaries. That's huge. Now, many times the huge challenge with boundaries are the patterns of overgiving. Patterns of not overgiving, not feeling, not sensing your own limits. It's like overriding your own limits, overriding your own body, overriding the cues your body is giving you, the cues for rest, for nourishment, for changing your environment, for saying no. And you get into space where you are in like chronically overriding yourself. You're chronically overriding the instincts, the cues, and the impulses that your body is giving you. And it is soul devastating. So what is the real cost of not healing this? What is the real cost of keep overriding your impulses and not healing your boundaries? First and foremost, and I think this is the biggest one, is a chronic fatigue. It's a chronic fatigue. It's a sense of exhaustion, which is epidemic nowadays. Pretty much every woman feels tired, stressed, burnout. It's too much on my plate. I can't do this anymore. I'm falling apart. And it is a result of constant pattern of overgiving, constant pattern of overriding your own cues and your own impulses. Next one, very, very common, and I spoke about it already, is sexual pain. Is some form of sexual pain or pelvic pain or organ prolapse or something happening in the reproductive system that you might be trying to fix for the last 5, 10, 15 years, and still nothing is giving you like the real answer or the real relief that you're seeking from. No matter what is happening in the reproductive system, always, always, always addressing the boundaries is once again the foundation. Because let me repeat this, or let me remind you from what I said before, boundaries are about safety. Boundaries are about protection. And what they have found, what the researchers have found over and over again, is that the common thread between chronic pain or inability to heal is this signaling in the subconscious of perceived threat, of perceived danger, of there's something bad that's going to happen to me. So I need to be in this hyper-protective, hyper-vigilant state. The moment you claim safety for yourself, the moment you claim safety for your body, you will feel significantly different, significantly better in your reproductive system. It's like miracle. Now, you also might be struggling with desire. You might be struggling with arousal. You might feel like, I've lost my sexuality. I have no desire for my partner. I don't feel sexual at all. I don't feel sexual pleasure. I'm not orgasmic. I feel completely off. And so many, if you think about it, so many of our boundaries are actually connected to our sexuality itself. Many times when I say to my clients that even if you have been married for 18 years, you are allowed to say no to your husband when this is your body's impulse, it's eye-opening. It's absolutely eye-opening. Same thing is you can get naked with your lover or with your partner and get really heated, and in the middle of everything, you can say, that's it, it's enough. I have enough for right now. So I believe that sexual boundaries are like this whole new frontier and whole new topic in it of its own, and one that is so deeply connected to everything that is happening in women's reproductive system. Now, the real cost of not setting your boundaries, of course, being a people pleaser. And what happens when we are people pleasing? What happens when we are constantly giving? What happens when we are overriding ourselves? We put on this happy, nice mask. We put on this good girl, I'm happy, I'm doing it in a selfless way. But deep down, we are falling apart. Deep down, there can be so much bitterness and resentment towards our family, towards our children, towards our husband. Deep down, you have like this layers upon layers of unresolved anger that you have internalized and you have kept inside. And guess what? It is impacting your health. It is eating you alive. It is stealing your life force, which goes so hand in hand with the final piece, and that is addictions. So many addictions, and I think for women especially, is food, turning to food for pleasure, turning to food for the escape from like this horrible sense of like, oh my God, I just can't anymore. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. And I can't say no because I'm petrified what will happen. It's bringing up this fear of that. And I'm not able to step up for myself. So what do women do? They turn to food. They are cleaning up the fridge in the middle of the night. They are swallowing their pain with nightly glass of wine. And then what? Then you go to bed and you are already ashamed of your choices. You're secretly hating on yourself. You are judging yourself how much weight you have put on, but you're not able to get to the core of issues. And it is happening at an alarming rate pretty much in every single household all around the globe. So I know this is heavy, and I know this can like put a mirror with many of your parents. And with that, I'm excited to introduce you to the world of embodied boundaries. So what is the difference between normal boundaries versus embodied boundaries? Embodied boundaries don't happen in the cognition. They don't happen in what your mind thinks or what you believe you should do, or navigating your yes or no from your thoughts. Embodied boundaries are a result of felt sense. Now, if you've never heard about felt sense comes from the trauma resolution work. It comes from the nervous system work. It's something I work with my clients in a very, very deep way. And felt sense is a little are the sensations inside of your body. The warmth, the contraction, the tingling, the expansion. They are the lived experience inside of your body. So, embodied boundaries are connecting to the felt sense, are connecting to the sensations, feelings, and emotions, and letting your body instinctually decide, letting your body to show you the way, allowing the body intelligence to navigate your deep grounded yes and deep grounded no. So here is the big shift. Embodied boundaries are not about going into war with yourself or hating yourself or suppressing some part of you. Embodied boundaries are it's about like having this aligned sense of harmony with yourself, aligned sense of harmony with your body, to create and foster deep connection around what will most support you to thrive, what will most support you to thrive. So what we're going to step into is I'm actually going to guide you through an embodied boundaries process, Now, a little caveat to this, and I want to share it with full transparency, is many times there is a certain work that kind of pre-surface the boundaries itself, and that is connecting to your worthiness, connecting to your deep sense of what your needs are on a physical, mental, and emotional level that will actually allow you to thrive, that will allow you to grow and thrive. Now, for our time today together, we're not gonna have the space to dive into this, but do know that the foundation of being attuned to what your yes and no is actually being connected with your needs as a woman. So what we're gonna step into, what I'm gonna guide you through, is an embodied boundaries process that's gonna involve three things. It's going to involve your physiology, which is, once again, your hips, your pelvis, and your genitals. So in the process, you will be invited to connect with your pelvis. You can touch your pelvis, you can stroke your hips, You can touch your genitals. You can like contact the tissues around the womb. You have permission to connect with this part of yourself. That's piece number one. The piece number two is you can do this in standing, you can do this in sitting, you can do this in lying down. I suggest standing if possible, because that will give you like really this grounded connection with the earth, with the floor beneath you, and let you get into some primal pelvic movement. The third thing is, throughout the embodied boundaries, you are going to be saying a certain, you can either say mantras or affirmations. Mantras or affirmations. And the affirmations here are very, very powerful because they are designed to literally reclaim the essence of your boundaries. Reclaim this natural blueprint of safety and protection. Now, what the affirmations are, you can see it if you go in the description of this video. There is a worksheet that helps you step, has like the entire guidance of this. But subsequently, I'm going to type them for you just right here, just right now, so you can absolutely see that and you know exactly what we are doing. So the mantras, the affirmations is, I get to decide, whoop, I just got really disconnected. I get to decide what comes in and what comes out. I keep my temple healthy, happy, and holy. I feed my seed what it needs to thrive. I say yes to, and we're gonna repeat this 3 times. I say yes to, and then is I say no to. And we're gonna repeat that 3 times as well. So to recap, you're gonna stand up if possible. If that's not possible, then definitely lying or sitting is an option. You'll be connecting with your pelvis. You'll be touching your hips, your buttocks, and you will be repeating the specific mantras. With the mantras, you can say them out loud after me, or you can receive them from me with your cognition, or you can whisper them in your mind's eye. And the mantras are, I get to decide what comes in and what stays out. So this in itself is like recognizing this natural blueprint of health, of boundaries, of allowing the good things to come out, good things to come in and the bad things to come out. You keep your temple healthy, happy, and holy. That's a recognition that you have a temple and you're in charge of its protection. You feed your seed what it needs to thrive. The seed being the worthiness, the seed being that you know what your needs are, and you're feeding it with your yes and no what it needs to grow and thrive. And then we are in space of I say yes to 3 dots, because this is where you'll really allow this felt sense experience, maybe a sensation, emotion, energy, or image, to arise for you to feel into what is it that you're saying yes to, or what is it that you need to say yes to. And same thing with the no. I say no to, I say no to, I say no to, and you allow this message or download or a vision or emotion to actually be felt in your body. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if you are not, like if you're just learning to feel your feelings, if you're just learning to feel your sensation, this might feel foreign, this might feel really different, this might feel like new language, you might be experiencing a lot of numbness. And know that this is a process. This is a process of reclaiming that instinctual knowing from your body, reclaiming your embodied sense of boundaries. So what I'm going to do is pivot, and I will guide you through this step by step. So if you may, stand up or find your space, and we're gonna dive into our embodied boundaries process. All right, so I'm gonna invite you to stand up if possible, and you can have your feet wider than hip width, so you're like in this wider stance that allows you to be really grounded and strong and feel the contact of your feet on the ground. And you're going to invite contact with your hips, your pelvis, your buttocks, this physiology, this embodied physiology of your boundaries. So what that means is you can stroke your hips, you can touch your genitals, you can move your hands around your pelvis, you can have your hands still. You want to do what is doable. This is not about overriding yourself or pushing yourself. This is about creating consent with yourself. You also might want to sway like I'm doing from side to side, so you're getting in like this creases of your hip sockets and you're lubricating your acetabulum and inviting your presence, your mind, your awareness into your hips and pelvis. And we're gonna step into the mantras or the affirmations that, once again, you can say them out loud, you can whisper them to yourself, or you can simply receive them from me. You want to do what is doable. So here we go. I get to decide what comes in and what stays out. Taking a deep breath. I get to decide what comes in and what stays out. I get to decide what comes in and what stays out. I keep my temple healthy, happy, and holy. I keep my temple healthy, happy, and holy. I keep my temple healthy, happy, and holy. I feed my seed what it needs to thrive. I feed my seed what it needs to thrive. And now stepping into I say yes to. So embodying the movement in your pelvis of saying yes to. I say yes. I say yes. I say yes. Yes. And noticing what is your body saying yes to. It can be a feeling, emotion, thought pattern, certain way of being. I say yes, yes, yes. And now really grounding into this, grounding into the yeses, grounding in what a temple of your body might have guided you to say yes to. And now we're going to step into the no, I say no to. Really embodying the energy and movement of saying no to. I say no, no, no. Maybe moving your pelvis backwards in this physiology of protection. No, no, no. And feeling, noticing, what is your body saying no to? Again, it can be emotion, sensation, thought pattern, way of being. no, no, no. And now letting your pelvis come more into the upright position. We're going to circle back to the earlier mantras. I get to decide what comes in and what stays out. I get to decide what comes in and what stays out. I keep my temple healthy, happy, and holy. I keep my temple healthy, happy, and holy. And now letting all of this movement, mantras, attunement to your yes, attunement to your no, to sink in your physiology, to sink in your pelvis, in your womb, in your hips, in your genitals. And noticing what is alive. If this part of you would be in charge, if this part of you would be directing your experience just right here, just right now. Is there something she would ask you, she would invite you to do next? So allowing all of this to sink at the level of your body, your mind, even your cognition. And you might want to journal on a few things, either now or later on. And you might want to come back to screen so you can share with me, you can share with us your experience around this. You can ask me any question on what you felt, what you experienced, anything that you want to process or digest, which is definitely, I'm not gonna lie, this is a process. This is a process of reconnecting to your physiology, reconnecting to your womb and to your pelvis, and letting, whether that's trauma pattern, letting, whether that's the exploitation that has impacted your boundaries in a deep way, or it is the social conditioning, to slowly and sensitively start like unveiling its wounded imprints. So you are reclaiming your health, your safety, your protection, and of course, your deep sense of boundaries, your deep sense of protection, your deep sense of self. So if you would like to go with this way deeper in a deeper, more healing, more supported, more integrated way, I have a really special invitation for you today, which is the invitation inside of my Flash Academy. That is a sacred 10 weeks, the most healing immersion on the planet. Flash Academy is an intimate group coaching program for women who are ready to heal their past and truly become nourished with self-love in every single cell of their being. So in Flash Academy, which by now I have been blessed to work with women from all around the world, from Australia, all parts of Europe, Canada, US, Ireland, UK, Netherlands, even South Africa. It has been truly phenomenal experience. In Flash Academy, which is a deeply holistic process, we address your healing, we address your boundary reclamation, your worthiness reclamation, your sexuality reclamation on multiple levels. First and foremost, we step into deep and profound nourishment. So you can shift from patterns of exhaustion and depletion into overflowing state of self-love. We're also doing really beautiful healing work on reclaiming your sexuality, which is first and foremost breaking free of the guilt and shame you might have connected with sexuality. So you are reclaiming your divine right to pleasure. You are connected with your sexual self, and you are making sexuality your own, your source of nourishment, your source of creativity, and your source of personal power. This is the greatest healing balm if you're a woman who has experienced sexual trauma and you have been in psychotherapy and done yoga and done Pilates and done all sort of healing modalities, but sexuality still feels like this missing frontier and you just don't know how to address it. You don't know how to dive into this. Flash Academy is the perfect choice for you. Now, in the program, we are also addressing a deep healing of past wounds and trauma patterns, which creates a profound shift in your nervous system. Now, many times when I talk about trauma healing and like doing the deep work, this is where women get really scared. They are like, yes, I know I need to heal my traumas, but I'm really scared. I don't want to open this black hole and it's gonna be too much. It's terrifying. Now, the power of true trauma healing, and this is what we are doing in Flash Academy in a very deep way, is it's not about talking about the story. It's not about talking about the pain. At the core of healing your trauma is regulating your nervous system into health, safety, and pleasure, which means doing the trauma resolution work at the level of your body, at the level of your sensations. And this is where you can literally relieve a lifelong pattern of fear or like this visceral anxiety or visceral sense of shame, and reclaim your reclaim yourself and reclaim your safety very, very fast and truly in a life-affirming way. Now, in the program, you're also going to learn about your body from inside out. I'm really heavy, in a good way, on the physiology, on the biomechanics, on the science of nervous system. So what that means is you're going to learn about how your body works and be empowered with tools and practices that will literally allow you to be your own best medicine. This means you will save so much money going from therapist to therapist, and this therapy and this program and this healer. You will learn how to foster healing in yourself. This will be an investment that will save you so much money in the long run. It will save you so much heartache and exhaustion and pain, and actually really, really, really put you at the forefront of your healing by profound education and deep embodiment. And the last but not least important piece, what we're doing in Flash Academy that makes this program really special, is helping you map out a new identity. So what happens for a lot of people when they do tremendous healing, but they are still so stuck, is many times their identity, their sense of self, is still fully connected with the brokenness, the trauma, the poor boundaries, the low self-worth. So in the program, what we are doing is we're going to get really clear on who is your current narrative, who is your current identity, and we're going to map out an identity for you that will most support you to thrive, that will most support you to make better decisions and have more self-loving thoughts and have a deeper, more grounded sense of yes and no, all of that. A new identity that will completely create a deep healing, deep shift, and tremendous transformation in your life. So I'm not gonna lie, Flash Academy offers a radical shift. This is not just about fixing you. It is not about just looking at what is broken. It is actually creating the foundation, both through education, but also through deep support, and most importantly, through embodiment, through embodied practices and tools that will allow you to thrive. So Flash Academy is this process where you are breaking free of suffering, of pain, of stress, of exhaustion, of just getting by, into place of thriving, into place of creating a deep shift at the cellular level. So inside of this program, you will get a combination of the best online course on the planet, best online course on healing on the planet, in combination with one-on-one work, both with me and with one of my head coaches. Every single week, we are there for you in private way, in a personal way, to support you to truly have the healing shift that you deeply desire. You'll also be going to do a powerful group processes and group coaching calls where we'll actually be diving into the science of healing and nervous system and creating a deep, deep shift in your body. And you will be getting a profound support both from me and from my team. This is not one of those programs when you just you sign up and then you kind of get in and you don't know what to do and you are left to your own devices. When you step in Flash Academy, I so deeply care about your healing. I so deeply care about you really getting the result, getting the transformation, getting the healing that you desire at your core essence. And I am there for you, like literally every step of the way. Both me and my team are there for you every step of the way for the 10 weeks, because we want you to heal. We want you to get out of brokenness and stuckness and pain and exhaustion into a place of thriving. We care for you at the human level, at the heart level, and we really, really want you to succeed. That is my heartfelt thing. That is my heartfelt promise. And literally every woman who steps in the program feels that, experience that, like says that, like, wow, Dagmar, your level of commitment in me, it's like something I've never experienced in my whole life. And yes, this is what I stand for. So it is a kick-ass program. It is the best investment you will make in true lasting transformation of you, your heart, your body, your sexuality. The women in there are often in a similar place like yourself. They are afraid. They have done so much. They have been in therapy. They have been in coaching. They have sat in a counselor chair for 10 years, and they are still exhausted, tired, in a people-pleasing mode, maybe with sexual pain, maybe with pelvic pain, burnout, tired, exhausted, anxious, in fear. And Flash Academy is my stance and my contribution to the world, because I have gone through the same challenges like you, and I have both studied in a very, very deep way and really, really learned about the science of transformation and applied everything to my own body and to my own life. So now I can share these gifts with you. And these gifts are not about you being dependent and being under my wings for next 10 years. These tools are about you being your own best medicine. This is empowerment at its core, and it's one that keeps on giving and keeps on healing and keeps on making your life superly, superly awesome. So what I want you to consider right now is, where do you want to be 3 months, even 6 months from now on? We are in 2020. This is a new year. This is a new decade. And I'm really inviting you just right here, just right now, to back yourself up and say yes to yourself. Say yes to your healing. Say yes to your transformation. So what I'm inviting for you as a next step is to book in for a free strategy session, for a free consultation with me, which you can do. There's a link in the description of this video, or you can simply go on www.flourishchat.com. That's Flourish Chat, which is FLOUI. Oh God, this is hard. Like flourish, like flourishing, flourishchat.com. Now, on the page, you will see a link to my calendar where you can book in for a free Flashing Woman strategy session. So we get on a call together and I really get to understand, where are you coming from? What are your struggles? What's going on in your life? And if Flash Academy makes sense for you at this point of your life. You can ask me any questions about the program. You can really come prepared and have a deep dive with me. I have nothing to hide. I am really, really there in service of you, and I want us to have this conversation that has absolutely potential to change the course of your 2020, the course of your life, and get you out of pain and suffering into place of radiance and nourishment and pleasure and safety, which is your divine birthright. Now, if you are confused with the schedule or you don't know how to do it, you can simply drop me an emoji in the comments below, or you can let me know in the comments below that you do want to have this consultation, you want to have this strategy session with me, and then I'll reach out to you via Messenger and we will map out something this way. So with all of this, I know it is time for you to heal. It is time for you to emerge into the flourishing woman that has deep love and deep reverence for herself, and that is deeply grounded in saying her yes and her no in a way that feels safe and nourishing and grounded, and really allows you to be in your power, really allows you to be in your essence. The final piece I'm going to share is, if you have a woman in your life, maybe someone on Facebook, maybe your friend, maybe your sister, who is like, oh my God, she needs to learn about boundaries. She really, really needs to learn the value of this, and she can step in the embodied boundaries process. Please invite her to join our group. This class replay will be available for next 7 days or so. So there'll be plenty of time for new women to come in and really soak this magical knowledge and education. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I cannot wait to connect with you on the free strategy session. I cannot wait to hear more of what it is boundary healing is opening up for you, and maybe your further experiences with the embodied boundaries process that you can keep playing and coming back to this live stream over and over again for next few days. Thank you so much for having the courage, for having the presence, for having the commitment to be here with me today. You are amazing. I'm sending you so much love, and I'm excited to help you heal your boundaries from inside out.